Business College in Indianapolis, and Uncle Sam came along. I went in on the buddy system. My buddy and I went to the Air Force in Lackland Air Force Base. He phased out, went home, and I said, "Thanks, buddy." So that wound me up in Oklahoma City at Tinker Air Force Base, and I met and married my wife in that area, Midwest Del City. And let me get caught up a little bit farther. I spent 26 years with Eastman Kodak. Got out of the Air Force on a Friday, drove to Dallas on Sunday afternoon, was with Kodak Monday morning. Almost a non-existent company now. Yeah. And I spent 26 years. I retired at 50, and I bummed around a little bit, didn't know what to do, and I was invited to go to Montana City, Montana, to help build the Friendship Baptist Church. And my youngest son and I made the trip out, and we enjoyed it so much. I came home and told my wife, I said, now I know why God allowed us to retire early. Amen. We're going to buy a truck and a fifth wheel and go help build churches. I'm on my fifth wheel, I believe, about 7 trucks. And this one, I just spent about $3,700 in the past 4 weeks on it. But I'm getting in excess of 20 miles a gallon now, so that's a good thing. I made a trip up to Summersville, West Virginia, about 4 weeks ago. I got 22.5 miles a gallon. Enough of that. My second project was Russellville, Arkansas. The reason I mention Russellville, do you utilize the faith promise giving here? Yes, we do. And missionaries that you support. And I like to hear where you give a report of your missionaries. And Brother Ron Kaufman, pastor, started to work there in Russellville in a small rented facility. We went in on my second building project. The first one I had a travel trailer to live in. And their faith promise giving that year was $5,000. Now, God builds the church. We just build the buildings. But through that church, this is just one, through that church, 10 years later, their faith promise was $78,000. Amen. Now, that is what home missions can do for missions, period, home and abroad. That's right. Acts 1:8 tells us that ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost has come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem, that's right here at home, and in all Judea, that's the surrounding area, and in Samaria, that's a little bit farther out, maybe the United States, and unto the uttermost part of the earth. That's when you're going overseas. And it tells us to do all of this at one time, not just go do this one, then you go do that one. We do it all at one time, because through this local church, you support home missions, you support foreign missions, and through those, you are supporting missions around the world. That's what missions is all about. Years ago, a lot of our colleges would ask a student, are you wanting to be a pastor or a missionary? Excuse me. He said, if you're a pastor, we'll run you around a few states and raise a few $100 for you, and you go start a church, and bud, in about 6 months, you better get that thing going. That don't happen in today's society. If you're a foreign missionary, we're going to run you all the way across the country. We'll raise thousands of dollars for you, and you can go overseas, and that's wrong, because we've got many places here in the United States. For instance, in New York City, that's one place that it costs millions just to get into a building. Yeah. I've been in Brooklyn, New York, for Brother Johnson, helped on that building. It was built, you probably would recognize the man that started that church. He's written a few songs in your hymnal. Shall We Gather at the River, Brother Lowry, back in the 1700s, I believe. Yeah, it's 1700s. This same building that I got to work on to help do some remodeling is still in existence. It's still an independent fundamental Baptist church, and it's in New York City. As I walked down the street beside the building, all of these brownstone stairs going up to the first floor, every 25, I believe it's 25 feet. That's how wide the house is, 25 foot wide. Every 25 foot is a set of stairs. Each one goes for $1 to $1.5 million. Man. I cannot imagine that. Right. I got sidetracked and I apologize. Over the past 23 years that I've been building, personally I've been on a little over 140 churches. Our organization's been on over 250 churches. We have at this time, 3 of our crew is in Deming, New Mexico. Brother Stephen Sykes is from this area. He's from Burlington area. He said, bring me a cookout milkshake when you come. I sent him a few pictures just to agitate him. But he's got to work there going. 4 weeks ago, they put the trusses up, and I have a 2-minute video where he's condensed about 6 hours down into 2 minutes. And people running all over the place. Trusses are swinging up. Decking is going on. It's very interesting. He gave us permission to utilize it. But 3 of our crew is there now. We're hoping to finish up most of it by the second week of April. I plan on being out there in about 2 weeks. We were able to acquire a number of building materials, 3070 doors, solid core, fire-rated doors. I've got probably 20 to 30 of those. We need to take 15 of them out with the steel frame that goes around it. Right. I'll be taking those out. We've got the suspended ceiling. The grid I'm going to buy new, but we've got almost 600 of the 2x2 tile we'll be taking out. We've got toilet petitions. I don't know, the men's room, the little urinal divider, that's over $300 if you buy it new. Yeah. And we've got 8 restrooms full of toilet petitions we were able to take out of this building. And that's allowed us to provide to baby churches for their building needs. And I'll be taking a lot of that out to them. If you have questions, please feel free to ask, even now, or if you don't think of any questions right now, ask me after service. I don't want to take in pastor's time, but I do appreciate the opportunity of sharing with you what we do. And I will ask one more favor. If any of your men are in the construction field or would like to go on a construction project, around the 1st of May, end of April, we'll be going up to Summersville, West Virginia. They've already got the slab poured. They're meeting in a double-wide trailer, an old double-wide trailer. And their first set of plans is what Lowe's drew out for them. And I looked at it and I said, Preacher, this is not feasible. It's not doable. And we contacted a friend that's over in Virginia Beach. He drew up a set of plans. Preacher says, wow, I like that much better. They had it, the main entry to the church, you come right into the side of the auditorium. Can you imagine a visitor coming in 10 minutes late? Everybody looks. He's not coming back. So we moved it to the back, put a foyer in, the 2 restrooms, 3 Sunday school rooms, and a pastor's office. And it's very doable building. We've rearranged it, I think, 3 times. He loves what he's got now, his people do, and that's what we'll be going up to on that building projects. It's 4.5 hours. Get up early some Saturday, drive up, work all day, come back home. We'd love to have you. It'll be a building trip that you will enjoy, I guarantee it. Amen. One of the projects I was on many years ago was in Sussex, Virginia. A lady came up to me. My apologies, I get emotional talking about this. A lady came up to me and said, Brother Ray, right here on this set of plans, right here's my classroom. Can you show me where it's at? And I said, yes, ma'am. I walked over in the corner, took my tape measure out, measured. I said, stand right here. I measured out this point. I said, move over. I said, this corner is where your classroom is going to be. She walked out in the middle of it, turned around, she says, Brother Ray, this is where I get to teach boys and girls about Jesus.
Amen. That's right.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Thank you for your time, Pastor. I appreciate it.
Brother Ray, why are you here in Saxapaw Hall right now? Someone asked that question, why are you here right now? I couldn't answer that.
Okay. October the 30th, I had my left rotator cuff surgery done in Oklahoma. I had been out here the year before. I've got 4 great-grandchildren. They're super. And the 14th of this past month, the 4th great-grandchild was born. My grandson's youngest son, he's got a boy and a girl, and now the little baby. He's a volunteer fireman at Swepsonville. He's on works for Merck Pharmaceutical in their security and fire department there. And he was telling me some of the things he just spent like $80-some thousand for a skid loader for. I said, how do you do that? And he said, credit card. I said, we need it, go buy it. And I said, wow, that's a lot of trust in a young man. That, and I'm proud of him. He's been on several building projects with me. And he'll tell me, he said, Grandpa, do you remember when we was up at such and such? And I said, yes. He says, how's that church doing? And I said, they're doing great. And I get to go back and see a lot of the church buildings from time to time. One I got to see last year. I had been down in Valley, Mississippi, and then on down to Ocean Springs. And on the way back, I made purposely driving to Bainbridge, Georgia. That was a project we built close to 20 years ago. And I had never been able to go back because when I left there, I had a pin in my right leg. I had had a walk plank broke with me and dropped me to the ground from the eave of the church. And I looked down when I got my senses. I was in a seated position on my left side, and I looked down. Everything moved except, woo, I've got 2 knees on my right leg, and I'm not supposed to have 2 knees. And the femur was broken, and by the time we got to the hospital, and then they held us up because they couldn't take us on down to Florida, Gainesville, Florida, for the surgery. So by the time we got that done, I was in a lot of pain, and I left with a pen headed back to Oklahoma to recuperate. But what brought me here this time, not only the grandkids, but after surgery, I froze up in my trailer at home 5 times. I told my wife, I said, we're getting out of here. We're going back to Chris's. And I think I froze up about 5 times here, so that didn't work. But we got to be here for the birth of that grandchild.
Amen.
My granddaughter had her baby 5 months ago, and so it's exciting to be around. And I am still recuperating. I was in physical therapy again this morning, and this shoulder I'm still working at, even though it's been that long. This shoulder is waiting surgery, so I'm working it too. And before I left, I said, please pack both of them in ice so I can get out of here. And but that's the main reason I'm here right now. My ministry has changed this past year, where I'm doing more of the scheduling. Brother Bob Perryman started New Testament church planting back in 90, and I joined the crew in 92. And at that time, there were just 4 of us. And since then, we've had probably a couple of dozen men in. Some of them worked for a while. I've got contacts all over the United States. Churches we've helped build, I know I can always call Brother Chadwick in Amarillo. I'll be calling him, can I stay in your missions quarters? Or if we drive through with an RV, we've got an RV park in the back with about 4 hookups. I know that's always available. Our men that travel, I can tell them certain places to stop because there is missions quarters if you're traveling without your RV, or there's a place to hook up if you need hookups, which saves us thousands upon thousands of dollars. But over the years, I think we've saved literally, not pastorally speaking, because I could see pastorally speaking, you've got 150 people out here. That's great. But in reality, you're not that many. But I figured at least we've saved over $6 million in building costs. And that's money that's not going to the commercial industry, but that's money that can be used for missionaries and other baby churches getting started. Did you have any other questions?